What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Between the Numbers Sports Show. I'm your host, Daryl. Before we go any further, if you haven't already, please go and subscribe to the channel and stay tuned with all of the new drops here on the channel. But you got to hit that bell notification button and you got to subscribe. All right. So, on this episode, we're going to be talking about um, the recap of LSU versus Nicholls State, and then we're going to be talking about LSU moving forward versus South Carolina this week. All right, so I did not watch the game just this last Saturday. I was traveling in Florida. I was in a place called Edgewater, Florida, and the Airbnb didn't have it had Roku, but the SEC network wasn't showing the LSU game. So I was just pretty much following it along on Twitter. And then I went back and watched the game on YouTube. But some attaboys, right? Nussmeyer had 6 passing touchdowns. Kyron Lacey had half of them. So attaboy to Garrett Nussmeyer and Kyron Lacey. Attaboy to um uh probably gonna say his name, Juwan Johnson, right? Number 8, switched from cornerback to running back. Sorry if I butchered his name. Um, and then attaboy to the offensive line, right? In pass protection. In 2 games, they still haven't given up a sack. So Nussmeyer has been, operating from a very clean pocket. So attaboy to them. Uh, and so yeah. So sad news though. Prayers to Jacorian Guillory, right? He's done for the season. Brian Kelly did say that he was talking with his family to possibly see about him being able to come back for medical red shirt. So obviously he has an Achilles injury, so he would rehab and then come back to LSU and play again next season. I don't know what Jacori's I don't know what his draft stock is, but that's between him and his family and the LSU program. But Godspeed to him. I hope he has a speedy recovery. And there's it's just very sad news because he was expected to have he was expected to be a very, very important part of that LSU defensive line room position that's already kind of thin, that doesn't have very much depth. So prayers to him and Godspeed to him. All right, so Brian Kelly did his his weekly press conference today. He talked about his preparations for the team's preparations for South Carolina. Now I'm going to that game, which I'm excited about. The game is going to be here in South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. College game day is going to be at that game, so it seems like it's going to be a really big game. LSU is going to go on to on the road to play South Carolina, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to talk about some of the things that Brian Kelly mentioned in his press conference. I wrote down some things that I thought was kind of interesting about Brian Kelly. First things first, what Brian Kelly said that, a lot the reporters was asking him about, the difficulties in the run game, right? And Brian Kelly stated that they've been very intentional about the run game. He said that he's talked to Joe Sloan and told Joe Sloan, hey man, um, if let's back it up. Brian Kelly said that teams, they don't want them to run the ball. Brian Kelly said teams don't want them to run the ball. So they've been loading the box, right? They've been putting 8 in the box. So Brian Kelly said he had a conversation with Joe Sloan, and he told Joe, hey, if the box is loaded, we're throwing the ball, because Brian Kelly feels like, no one can really stop them if Nussmeyer is throwing the ball on time and accurately, right? So Brian Kelly says they've been really intentional about not running the ball so much because they're loading the box, and Garrett Nussmeyer and those wide receivers have been playing lights out. So they're like, hey, let's just keep throwing it. But he also talked about not being one dimensional. One dimensional as not being able to run the ball and only passing the ball. But he said, hey, if teams come out with in like 3 down linemen, they're going to run the ball. He said that's a fact. That's guaranteed that they're going to run the ball. And so he says they've been very intentional about not running the ball. So we got to see. We got to see what they're going to do versus South Carolina on Saturday. Now, South Carolina, let's see. I wrote down some notes about South Carolina's defense in, let's see. Sorry, I'm not prepared on that one. In 2 weeks, so okay. Nope, that's not it. That's about Notre Dame. I don't even know what I did with that. I probably deleted it. But pretty much in the two games that South Carolina has played, they are pretty much a top 10 defense in two games, right? They have 5 sacks, and they got a bunch of quarterback pressures, and the defense has been playing really, 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 really stern. And so that's going to be interesting considering that LSU has not been able to run the ball very well so far. And also considering that LSU hasn't given up any sacks. So it's going to be what the two positions that I'm going to be watching is LSU's offense versus South Carolina's defense. Um, I'm just trying to find what I've seen about South Carolina's defense. But yeah, so that's the two interesting positions I'm going to be looking at. I can't find that stat. Forgive me, but I would encourage you to go look it up. South Carolina so far defense is playing really really well. Um, Brian Kelly also talked about you know the DB carousel, right? So Sage Ryan is moving back to safety. Seems like that's going to be something for the rest of the season. Now that Zay Alexandria is back in the fold, Brian Kelly said that Zay Alexandria, you know, was going to play, and they just have to see exactly how much he's going to play Saturday versus South Carolina. He's still coming back off injury. I don't know what's up with the transfers from Ohio State. I guess they're just not good enough. I guess they still hurt. I don't know. I also didn't do any research to find out what's going on with them, but I thought they'd probably be playing at this time in the season, but it seems like they're not. So yeah, Zay Alexander is back. Sage Ryan moving back to safety. Man, I think Sage Ryan should have stayed in the portal. I don't think anyone was excited when Sage Ryan said he was taking his name out of the portal and coming back to LSU. He's versatile that he can line up at cornerback and at safety, but he's just not good. He's just not very good at all. Um, Brian Kelly also talked about what I think is a debacle on how they continue to handle um, Harold Perkins, right? So Brian Kelly said that you know they're still searching for ways to get Harold Perkins involved, and I keep saying it. I'm screaming to the rooftops. Just keep him on the field, man. Keep him on the field. Move him from inside, move him back outside linebacker, and let him rush the quarterback. Let him cause chaos in the backfield. Just let him play free and fast. They're giving him too much to think about. When you give a player too much to think about, it slows them down. They just got to put them on the edge, man. But if you think Harold Perkins is coming back for his senior season, you got another thing coming. I guarantee you Harold Perkins is going to be on the first train smoking out of Baton Rouge because he got to be frustrated too. All of the hype coming in behind Harold Perkins this season, he hasn't, for some reason, whether it's 50-50 on Harold Perkins and the rest of it on Brian Kelly and the coaching staff, he where is Harold Perkins? Where's he at? He had a few big splash plays versus USC, and then other than that, it's been really quiet. So I think it's criminal the way how they've handled Harold Perkins so far at LSU. Um, I don't know. Maybe this Saturday they unleash him and let him go crazy, but I don't know. I think it's been criminal. Um, LSU also talked about you know, Brian Kelly also talked about giving Jawan Johnson more snaps at running back, right? Brian Kelly raved about how he's a quick learner and how he can. They're pretty much gonna load him down until he can't handle it anymore. So that'd be good, right? It's great to have more versatility in that running back room. It's a long season. LSU got South Carolina, so this is the first game in the SEC schedule. South Carolina's already 1-0. They blew the brakes off of Kentucky last weekend. And so, LSU has a long season, and a lot of the running back position is a physical position. They get hit on every play, whether they're carrying the ball or not. And so, It's good to have more depth uh, at that position. And also, I would look for to see more of Pimpton and Tradares Green, uh, this game and moving forward because Brian Kelly was really raving on all three tight ends play, but I get Pimpton is a little banged up right now, so you're going to see more of Tradares Green, which is a good thing because Tradares Green is a really talented guy. The kid was just catching touchdowns in high school, not even a few months ago, and now he's catching touchdowns on Saturdays for LSU. So LSU's future in the tight end room is very, very bright, given none of them decide to transfer out. Because when kids feel like they're not getting the playing time that they deserve, they always got other colleges saying, "Hey, hop in the transfer portal and come over here." But yeah, so yeah, preview Saturday. It's gonna be really the atmosphere is gonna be really electric, right? Like I said, South Carolina is riding high, right? They are 2-0. They destroyed Kentucky last Saturday. Their defense in two games is has played elite. LSU's offense in two games has looked elite, right? So, and that game is going to be LSU's elite offense versus South Carolina elite defense, right? So, I'm very excited to see that. I'm going to be at that game. Very excited. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to be looking. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing how Nussmeier and these wide receivers go up against South Carolina's defense. That stadium is probably going to be packed. I didn't check to see if it was sold out yet, but college game day is going to be there, so that's going to be an electric game. But I do expect LSU to come out on top. I think LSU is going to have to score, uh, you know, 30 or more to beat them. So I'm thinking I'm going to say LSU 35, South Carolina 20-21 or something like that, right? I think I do got LSU being victorious. Now LSU's offense is very elite, and we have a ascending defense, right? Our defense is continuing to get better and better every week. South Carolina has a good defense, but the offense did not look the best versus Old Dominion. Of course, they went out and blowed out Kentucky, so that's a mixed bag right there. But I do think that LSU is going to have enough talent and depth to pull out a competitive game versus a rising, South Carolina team. I know Greg McElroy, the former Alabama quarterback, said that LSU and everyone else who has South Carolina on their schedule should be, worried. And Paul Feinbaum said something of that nature too. So it's kind of like LSU is on upset alert a little bit. No one has really officially came out and said it. So if LSU comes out playing slow like they played against Nicholls, then they might get up. They might end up you know being an upset casualty, right? Like Notre Dame was versus Northern Illinois University. But I think after all of the heat that Brian Kelly has been getting the last 2 weeks, I think this LSU team is going to come out prepared, and I think that they're going to come out, uh, you know, ready to go. Uh, you know, but we'll see. We'll see. Still not letting Brian Kelly off the hook just yet, but we'll see, right? And hopefully, fingers crossed, LSU comes out and operate clean because that's going to be a daytime game, so it's not going to be a evening kickoff that LSU is used to. So, but I do got LSU winning that game again. I'm going to be at that game. I'm going to be excited, and so I can't wait. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Um, Go back and watch the. I'll pin the press conference that Brian Kelly had today, so you can see exactly what he talked about the running game, and then the carousel at defensive back. Right, I'll pin that so y'all guys can look at that press conference if you had not already looked at it. So, all right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you can stay up to date on all of the latest drops here from that channel. Until next time, I'm out.